Hey Weirdos, it's Lacey here again, back with your weekly source of self-love. Today, I wanted to talk to you about what self-love means and why it's so important. Self-love is defined in the dictionary as regard for one's own well-being and happiness, chiefly considered as a desirable rather than narcissistic characteristic. But what does that mean, really? Self-love is possibly, definitely, in my opinion, the most important thing in the world. So many things stem from it, like self-worth, how well you're able to love others, and even your own happiness. Just to name a few. How can self-love determine all of these things? Let me explain. I want to try something with you. It will be a little bit weird, but hey, that's what we're all about here. Close your eyes, if it's safe to do so, not like if you're driving or something. And imagine that you made a mistake at work, or as a parent, or with your partner. How do you feel? What do you say to yourself? If you're anything like I was before my self-love journey, there was some anger, maybe even some feelings of hatred. And I know for me, there was a lot of cussing and name calling. Now, picture your best friend, or better yet, your child, and they make the same mistake. What is your reaction? I'm willing to bet you wouldn't call them a horrible, worthless piece of trash. You're way more likely to tell them that they're human and that they make mistakes, just like everybody else. Self-love is treating yourself the way you would treat your best friend or your child or any other person that you may mentor. In the book, The 4 Agreements, which I super recommend if you haven't read it already, something that it said really hit home to me, which was that you will accept love from somebody else as long as they give you just a little bit more than you give yourself. As someone who was in many abusive relationships in the past, this really made me think. When I had a boyfriend who would cheat on me or tell me I wasn't good enough or even at one point hit me, I accepted that behavior because they loved me more and treated me better than I loved or treated myself. It is so important that you love yourself at 100% because then you won't accept love from somebody else unless it's at 101% or more. And if you actually went along with the exercise that we did, I would love to hear what you said to your friend when they made a mistake. So comment that down below. And your little piece of homework for the rest of the week is whenever you catch yourself beating yourself up, stop and replace that with what you said to your friend. And in the next video, if you'd like, I can share some of the comments about what we said to our friends. Now, if you would allow me to get a little bit dark here, I'd like to share something else that helped me kickstart my self-love journey. I was sitting quietly one day thinking about my fears and I realized that we all die alone. Even if you're surrounded by loved ones when you die, you go through that experience alone. Similarly, you're the only person that will be with you 100% of the time, 24/7 for the rest of your life. Even if you have a person that you spend every waking hour with, you're the only person who's with you just before you fall asleep. So I don't know about you, but that made me realize that if there's a person that, if I'm lucky, I get to spend 100 years with, 24 hours a day, with no breaks, I better love the crap out of that person. On a similar note, if you believe in God, and if you don't, please stick around, you're next. But if you do, you're the only person that answers for your actions when you get up to those pearly gates, or whatever heaven looks like to you. And if your God is the all-loving kind of God, you know that he, she, they, it would want you to love yourself. After all, a ton of religions say that we were made in God's image. So how can you love her, him, they, it, if you don't love you? Now, for you people who don't believe in God or the idea of heaven, like me, you still have to live with your actions every single day. You still have to go to sleep with yourself, and you will still never be rid of you for the rest of your life. So why not love you? Now, just a few words on what self-love is not. Self-love is not thinking you are the greatest, smartest, coolest person ever. It is seeing, acknowledging, and loving your mistakes, fears, and shortcomings, because they are all a part of you. Self-love is thought by many people to be selfish. And yes, self-love does involve putting yourself first, but I don't think that's selfish. Imagine that you have a cup of water and you want to give some water to everyone that you know. So you do. But now your cup is empty. So when someone that you care about comes looking for some water, you don't have any left to give them. So now imagine that water is your time and attention and energy. What do you do when you run out? You can't pour from an empty cup. Self-love is the well where you can fill that water back up. When you take time to take care of yourself, you're better able to help take care of others. And when you try to pour from an empty cup, that can lead to burnout very quickly. Side note, if you'd like to know how to deal with burnout, leave a comment down below and I will make a video on that if there's interest. In my next video, I'm going to talk about a lot of different ways that you can practice self-love through self-care, and some ways that companies and large businesses try to sell you self-love that just don't work. So if you want to see that, or you're interested in more self-love videos, subscribe and hit the little bell thingy. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. I hope all of you weirdos dream weird and love big and love yourselves. I love you. I'll see you next time. Mwah.